Hello. Welcome
Hi.
to Dungeon Not Included, where we're playing Tears of a Machine SC with the creator, Russell Collins, also known as
Hi.
Robot Claw.
Strangely elongated tonight, thanks to my web camera's misbehaving, but at least it's working. So we're
I
gonna
do like it when Brendan calls Russell the creator, because it sounds a little bit like that's his DJ name.
Yeah, Russell the creator.
Yeah.
Russell the creator.
Okay, I'm gonna have to use that somewhere now. I don't
There you
know.
go.
Figure it out. Probably just end up making a role-playing character with that name. So anyway,
Yeah.
Hi, yes. So welcome back. We have finished our first episode in our Mechadrama series. So now we're actually ready to kick off episode 2. This sort of continues the game structure. I'm gonna back up and do a little nerd stuff here. That the since the game is designed with that structure of playing in episodes, every few episodes we finish a story, like the story arc you'd expect from a TV series takes 2 or 3 episodes or something like that. And that's that time we'll worry about, like, okay, did our characters level up, that kind of thing. So the breaks between episodes, usually not much time, not time enough for us to have those like level up things or whatever. So this episode's going to follow in, not necessarily immediately after what came before, but we're not going to have like a long stretch of time between episodes, okay? Just to kind of bring everyone up to speed as to where we are, because we're still looking in on some of those same, challenges and themes and so on that we approached for the first episode. We made up our list of subjects and tone when we got started. A lot of the stuff actually here is stuff that you guys dug into really deeply and right away. Either confronting these problems right away, like dealing with the volleyball tournaments and the other Saint pilots, or just dodging them entirely, like avoiding Jamie and that whole situation for Noah. But there's still some other questions we have there that we left unanswered. For example, the Archer is going to complete construction soon. There's going to be a launch ceremony. There's going to be all kinds of stuff going on. But we also started to dig in a little bit more into the Saints themselves, a little more about what's going on kind of behind the scenes, and Salem went to talk to Imka about, a little bit more about what's going on with all of this stuff in the minds of Saints. So I guess I can start throwing some story ideas out there, but if anybody has a scene that they know they're dying to see their pilot play, we have reset the beat counter. We're starting with 6 beats for our pre-crisis scenes. So, those will pass as we succeed or fail in our efforts to do stuff. But if anybody has an idea for something they'd like to kick off, otherwise I have a few things I can throw around.
Where do we leave off at the end of that last actual combat? Did one of us, I can't remember, I think I managed to pull out my own failure in enough so that it looked okay? Or do we have like problems with each other? We could also discuss that. I don't know if we actually ever established where, I guess in this case, Salem, Fatima, and Noah X stand with each other and how we performed. I think we're okay, right?
I think Fatima is okay with everybody, yeah.
Salem's fine.
Yeah, I think we're still like, we got off looking pretty good. We got some cool action. All right, so nothing in particular. I don't have anything. I could go for some story seeds.
Sure. Well, there are periodic tests for synchronization, compatibility, and so on, in which they, connect you up to the Metatron. That's the name for the computer system that's built out of Venator, computer science. It's that stuff that's made out of the same kind of things that make the brains of Saints and of Magnus are used to create the Metatron. So occasionally that's used as kind of a filter that you plug into for all kinds of neurological and psychological tests. A lot of it just involves you kind of visualizing the actions of Saints and then plugging that into simulation to then kind of play that back and experiment with, what does that mean to to the brain, and what does that mean to the saint? After a battle, it's usually a good time for them to start doing more of that stuff. So the family company has been scheduled to have one of those sessions in the simulation lab. Other classes are pulled aside and all that sort of thing. So the three of you, when you are greeted there by a technician, they immediately give you a halo to put on your head and direct you over to recliner couches where you sit down and relax, and they dim the lights, and you're go through kind of a guided meditation usually as they do this kind of thing, and they're just sort of calibrating controls on the walls as they're doing this whole thing. People are walking around with data pads and all that. All the technicians are looking kind of like you'd expect in sort of like a doctor's office. They've got their lab coats on, and carrying their data pads, scribbling notes here and there, and all that sort of thing. And it's pretty much par for the course until there is a loud click from behind you, and there's a sort of a sound of a door like rolling open. And you can't quite turn your head around to see what's happening there, but all the technicians kind of get quiet and straighten up and focus their attention that way, and then sort of walking around to where the recliners are, there are a couple of CRC representatives. Now, the Cloistered Research Council, CRC, are the scientists who have devoted their lives to the investigation of Venator technology. I think you talked about this, Salem. You talked about this a little bit with Imka last time, and she kind of went into that a little bit more. That the CRC, the cloistered part of Research Council, means that they give up their own identities so that they can avoid being blackmailed or bought or whatever, to allow this super high technology to end up in the wrong hands, which basically they've decided is anybody who isn't them. So they kind of jealously guard all this stuff. As such, they never appear in public without some kind of mask or uniform. In this case, the two representatives are wearing these red cassocks that basically cover themselves, head to floor in a bold red color, gloved hands, and for their face masks have sort of the appearance of a doctor's or surgical mask, but kind of built up in a technological way so that it is more of like a rebreather unit, and then with like these orange reflective glass eyepieces that kind of make you think a little bit of like like snowboarders goggles or whatever, because they completely cover the face across the top. The two of them are whispering to each other, and the technicians around them are kind of backing up out of the way. And then one of them steps forward toward you, Noah, points a finger and asks in a voice that is filtered through the mask so that you can't quite tell whose voice that could possibly be, points to you and asks, "You there, you were experimenting with the neurological projector cannon during the last deployment operation. Can you explain what went wrong with that?"
Noah kind of sits up at attention and still kind of chokes down a nervous little swallow. And yes, I was eyes darting to each person, because I'm not sure who was talking.
Yep.
I attempted to use the brain gun, which is the only name I know for it, during our maneuvers, and I attempted to give the driver, I guess the pilot, whatever, the driver of the convoy, a benefit of our heads-up display and help them navigate through the terrain, and it went tits up. Not, technically, it just didn't work. It didn't connect. It was just a bunch of noise in the system, from a technical tits up perspective.
What was the name of the guy? What was the name of the guy who Imka thought joined the CRC?
Oh, what was the name? Oh, shoot. I can't remember.
You didn't write it down.
I have to go look
I
that up.
didn't write it down either.
Sorry. All right. I will track back and figure it out. If you remember Salem, then we'll say that Salem remembers that it's technician first class Bradshaw. There you go. That's the first name that pops into my head.
And if that's wrong, that ends up being their first name.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. So Salem was like, "Are you Bradshaw?"
The CRC reps both turn to look at you. One of them cocks their head to the side. That one you've noticed has kind of bird-like motions. The entire time Noah was speaking to them, they would kind of like turn their head a little bit this way and that way as if they're kind of looking at Noah out of one eye and then the other in that sort of avian way. They both turn to look at you with this kind of appraising look. The other one has just kind of been standing stock still, arms folded across their chest, and then they sort of turn whole body to look at you. The one turns to the other and makes a sound that you don't quite know how to describe. Well, you, of course, Rebel, have heard an old style telephone modem, right?
Right.
Back in the day, that little electronic chirping, shrieking sound. There's a quiet sound like that comes from the one CRC rep. The other one nods and then replies with a similar little burst of modem noise, of sort of like a little crackle of static and a little buzz and whir. That first one then turns to you, Salem, and says, "Even if I were, I wouldn't be able to tell you. So it's sort of a wasted question."
I don't think it's wasted. I mean, while it's important to think of yourself as part of the whole, you're still an individual in the end. So kind of, even if you don't say you're Bradshaw, you're like still Bradshaw. You know what I mean?
The pillar CRC rep lets out a laugh that's kind of garbled by the mask, so that it sounds more like sort of a weird metallic cough, but moves as if they are laughing, and then says, "This one's ready to become a philosopher. I suppose it's good to have a backup plan if one can't continue with their piloting duties."
Well, we're all gonna graduate out eventually, so.
Good, then you've got a career lined up. Now about my question, says the bird-like one back to Noah.
I'm like, yes, I also plan on surviving and graduating.
Yeah.
God, I hate this. Yes, I'm sorry. Your question. I don't know what went wrong, but there was static in the line. That's what I experienced. Complete and utter static. Could not connect with the other guy's brain.
I feel that there's been some misunderstanding about the proper usage of the device then. Perhaps that is the concern then. All right. We'll have to reorganize some new training into it. Turns and glances from side to side and so on. Can we bring up a simulation event in which the neurological disruptor might be useful? A couple of technicians nod and quickly start tapping out buttons and so on and so forth. And one technician steps forward and says, "Please relax, unfocus your minds, concentrate." And as he does this, they hand you the VR goggles for you to fit on, a little headphones to pop over your ears and all that kind of thing. So you're in sort of the VR experience as the Halo starts to translate your mind into the Metatron system. The result is that, you feel kind of relaxed and chill. And then as the VR headsets switch on, you see a kind of simulated space around you. It looks a lot like Philadelphia from what you've seen of the city. And yes, when you look down at your hands, Noah,
you have to. This
yes.
is how you calibrate the system.
Exactly. When you look down, when you look down at your hands, you recognize Tigana's hands there. All of you notice that you are in a VR representation of being, your saint. Of course, you don't really feel that same energy that's there because you're not really hooked up directly to your saint. This is Metatron telling you what being in your saint is like. So, it's a level of remove. But as the three of you just start to sort of come into yourselves, suddenly there is an explosion down the street from you. A building topples and begins to slide into the street, and bursting out of the rubble and stampeding towards you come a herd of locust units, trampling over cars, smashing light poles out of the way, uprooting trees. And then you hear the voice of one of the CRC reps say, "Stop." And the whole thing freezes, chunks of masonry flying through the air, all that sort of thing as they are, nearing you. Now, Tagana, would you please demonstrate what you feel to be the proper use of the neurological disruptor weapon in this situation?
Are there any collateral damage victims around, people in cars or people trying to get out of the way but they can't? Or is it just like empty city with locusts?
Mm-hmm. When you look down and start looking around for that, you start to see, little like representations of people begin to pop up on your sensor suite. I mean, the Saint being able to pick up all these heat sources and read pulses and all that kind of thing. You start to see people hiding in the buildings, or a couple of them in vehicles on the street that you sort of become aware of as you seek them out.
So my instinct is to try to protect those people, and I'm being able to use this weapon to do so. So my instinct is to do the same thing, is try to get them out of the way. But I'm also not an idiot, and I know what this is supposed to be for. So I hesitate for a moment, probably enough for them to notice I'm hesitating, and then I pull the brain gun and aim at one of the locusts that seems to be in lead, the head locust.
Okay.
And, and I guess I'll fire.
All right. So what traits come into play as you exercise with this weapon on the simulation?
Am stalling for loading. Okay. I'm good at empathizing. I know what's expected of me in this scenario. And discovering. I'm trying to figure out what's how I'm expected to use this device. And I don't think anything else really comes in.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not
I don't have any real
Tagana,
fear.
so you don't get...
Yeah, no real fear. And I'm not really trying to lie. I'm just trying to find out what
the truth is that they expect.
Yeah. So those two, and I don't know. I guess I don't. Do we count Tagana in the role, or does it not count because this is just a poor simulation of our saints?
Yeah, it's just a simulation. You're not getting that extra boost from Tagana, Tagana themselves.
All right, 2d4, 2d fate. Wait, what did I roll? I actually rolled 2d4.
You rolled 2d4. Yeah, we need 2df, 2d fate.
Yeah.
By the way, does anybody want to try to coach coach Noah along in this? One of the advantages of being connected to the Metatron is similar to being in the Saint. You do have kind of a mental communication link to each other, which allows you to pretty easily communicate back and forth. It's not quite telepathy. It's a computer pretending to do telepathy. So if anybody of you do want to throw in to help, you can, or you can just, that's not a bad roll. So.
I think I'd rather leave that roll stand.
Yeah.
Thing's good. All right.
Yeah, the stakes here are so low, I guess it makes sense for me to just... so blank and plus.
Yep, blank and a plus. So, Noah, you're going to get to choose the goal of those from those two.
I am going to choose the plus.
All right. So tell me, the brain gun works right this time. What happens when you point it at the locust and activate it?
So part of me, and probably an incomplete part of me, since this is all simulation, leaves Tagana and becomes the locust, as if I were piloting the locust. It's the locusts are not the same as my saints, so it's not like I have limbs, and I don't. If anything, I have even less to work with in this body, but I can manage simple directions like move away from the crowd or confuse the other locusts or things like that. So I'm suddenly I go from piloting this amazing mech to basically RC remote controlling a locust and shoving it into a wall and trying to get as many other locusts in there as possible.
Okay.
Which I think maybe leaves my mech a little, or my saint a little exposed because I'm not quite there anymore.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's a correct use of the disruptor gun. So good. Your cost is going to be a blank. Do you want to purchase that up to a plus with an ego point, or are you okay with letting it sit at a blank?
I'm gonna let it sit. I like that.
Okay.
Part of my
Sure.
my hesitation.
All right. So yeah, so you get a point of angst for that. But as you come out of the simulation and come back to sort of the world around you, the CRC reps are turning to each other, and they're making more of those weird electrical bleats back and forth to one another through their masks and helmets. And then the bird-like one turns in your direction and nods and says, "A much more efficacious, a better outcome, I think, from that use of the weapon in that fashion. Projecting your mind toward another human is far more complicated than it is to project it toward one of the simpler machines."
The gun is a gun. Understood.
Bear that in mind. It is intended to be used against our foe. Use it to befuddle, use it to disorientate, use it to exacerbate.
So it can't really help people at all, is what you're saying?
It was not designed to help. There's the shaking, the CRC reps shaking head looks even more like bird-like, kind of the way it like darts side to side and that turning, once it.
I do have a question. It feels sometimes when I use it, and especially when I use it on those things, I feel like I'm leaving Tagana vulnerable. Should I be concerned, or should I train harder? Or?
With enough practice, I believe these sort of disassociative effects will be minimized. It should be something you can do in sort of a quick instant, short bursts, so to speak. Maybe better for that effect.
Okay. All right. Yes, definitely.
Tagana can handle itself, though it is best not left to its own devices for more than a few seconds at a time.
Right. I can do this. Of course.
Very good. The pillar, who hasn't really spoken to you yet, does turn and says, "I knew we could trust you with this."
I sit up even straighter at that.
With this advance, experimental equipment, materials, and so on are really all part of what comes in with being a Saint pilot. You are our vanguard, and we expect the best of you.
Of course. I will not let you down.
Any questions from the two of you? The bird one says, like looking from Salem to Fatima and back.
Salem reaches out a hand. Are they within reach? Can I put something in one of their hands?
Oh, no physical contact with the CRC, please. A technician can take something for you to give them, but it's up to them to then accept it from a technician. But
yeah, Salem will hand a technician something to give one of the CRC.
What's the technician got in his hand when he takes it from you?
A little olive-colored stone. One of Salem's crystals.
All right. The technician, turns that over and holds it up to the CRC representatives. They both look at it carefully, and then they both look back at you again. The bird-like one, shakes their head, and the pillar one says, "Oh, we're all just full of surprises in this company, aren't we?" He picks up the stone, tosses it up in the air, catches it, and slips it into an inner pocket of his cassock. And the two of them turn and walk back out around behind you Again, you hear the sort of click and sound of a door rolling open, followed by rolling shut, and another click, and then the collective sigh of relief in the room as the rest of the technicians have just had their bosses leave, and they all go back to normal stuff. I think that does complete your testing for today, however, says one of the leads, and sure enough, it's probably time for you to get back on track, because standing in the doorway leading into the space is Bradshaw's a different guy. That's right. Oof. All right, I'll find who that name was. Standing in the doorway to the room is Instructor Marta, who's there to get you back to your classes and back on schedule for things.
All right.
So that was 2 beats for that scene. Just want to let you guys know that we're down to 4 beats now. Okay.
All right.
Quick
On the
up.
way
Say-
there,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead, Fatima, or for whoever was talking. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Brendan.
As we're leaving, I'm going to say I really don't like those guys. I think there's something up with them.
Yeah, they're creepy as hell. How do you talk to them, Salem, without like shitting your pants like I did repeatedly in there? I mean, I'm caked in it.
I mean, their energies are terrible, but they're just people.
Can anyone see energies? Because I don't think I can. I've been listening to you for like a while, and I don't know how it works yet. Did you not give me the right rock? I'll try. I'll learn it.
I mean, it takes a lot of practice to be able to see energies, but you've got some internal things to work on first.
Right, the gun.
No, I mean like emotional stuff.
Oh, come on.
If you're not in touch with your emotions, you can't read. If you can't read your own energy, you can't read anybody else's energy.
I like the way you upgraded that while you were saying it. That's like I would never do that. I would just end up saying something stupid repeatedly. But you got the perfect phrasing. You like a little bit, and then you got back to it. I would have done that like a week later. It sucks.
Well, there you go. I mean, let's remember that who your your primary social link is, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So what's our what is our next class?
Marta leads you back, to the academy and gets you back into the class rotation. There's sort of the typical routines of things. I think part of what I do kind of want to find out from you is, you're all 18. You're all, adults technically, despite the fact that you're basically in still in school, apart from the robot fighting. Have any of you thought much about next steps? Because I'm kind of wondering if there are specific classes we should be sending you to. So far, we know you're good at playing volleyball and badly hurting people in the process. But what else? What else is that?
I don't. I think. God, I think Noah is interested in some sort of like, maybe history. He's Yeah, I think he's interested in history, and sort of a social studies kind of pathway. Not quite social work because he's nowhere near that good, but he does want to know. He wants to leave an impact for people, and I think he's also probably doing a lot of chasing his tail and maybe following along with whatever Salem and Fatima are up to. I think that's his path right now. Is just trying to find a place to fit in.
Good.
What about the two of you?
I mean,
Well, go ahead.
Salem wants to like do weird crystal shit, basically. Be like a healer, which would probably make her something closer to like a therapist or a social worker, or somebody who like works with people and tries to help them with their problems. But Faye always frames it as, crystal healing. So
Gotcha.
Yeah,
What's your...
well, Fatima doesn't really have a plan,
Hmm.
and is very unsure about what's going to happen after all of this. They, you know, they brought her into the program, and she feels like that gave her life some direction, but she's at a loss to what she's going to do when it's over.
Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha. So some of the questions we might need to answer are, what is the next step for a pilot after this? So that might be an interesting, if anyone has any thoughts on that.
It's fun mapping this out to college, or especially at like 19, early college. So you've got the person who is on like Fatima. In a way, we're all kind of like on athletic scholarships. We're in because we fit a bill. Fatima doesn't seem to know what comes after that. I am one of those 7 years until I find out something that clicks. Depending on how Salem reads, are you like world cultures now, or have you already got to that part where, like, early you take world culture, you learn a little bit, and then you're like, you know what, I really want to go into social work, or you want to go and where your career path is? Or is it right now just taking courses until something clicks?
I think Salem's probably at the things are clicking stage, because I think Salem pretty much knows what Faye wants to do with the rest of their life. So,
all right. I'm gonna throw for Fatima. I also have an idea of what I'm going with. That way, Fatima, you're screwed. You're the only one of us who's just like, I'm not sure. So you get to stand out there by yourself. So I have an idea. I think I know what I'm gonna do. I might end up staying, in the military or in the force, but I don't plan on being a pilot forever.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, in that case, I think it might be interesting for us to actually have someone ask those questions more directly of Fatima. You are scheduled after every fight. You go through your collective, review, debriefing, and all that kind of thing. But then there is individual counseling, which comes up as well, which does mean that, Fatima, you owe Dr. Bailey, the pilot psychologist, a visit. Now, he's not as strict as some others. He doesn't just go to your calendar and assign you, hey, you're going to come to this office at this time. He gives you a list of dates and says, and times, pick out one that's comfortable for you.
Right.
So when is it comfortable for you to go?
As far in the future as possible.
Okay. Which is probably why Marta is, swooped up to you after class, looking at her data pad, looking over to you and saying, I notice you haven't scheduled a meeting with Dr. Bailey within the next week or so. I think that's probably the best time to speak,
Yeah, okay. Just schedule something.
Well, I don't really want to be doing this for you. I mean, that's sort of, I want you to be able to make these kinds of decisions, yourself. I would like to feel confident that you are taking these kinds of things seriously and not just allowing it all to roll past you,
Sure, fine. I'll make an appointment.
Okay. Now remember, you have a trouble that you have lost Marta's confidence. So
yes,
she is definitely leaning hard into that.
Yeah.
All right. So you do make the appointment to see Dr. Bailey. Is it nearer in the future, or is it still far away? Let's.
It's before the end of the week. That was the instruction.
Okay. Good. There you go. So Friday at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've had students schedule that. That's not for me.
Yeah. So since we have a little time until then, does anybody have any other scenes they want to fit in?
Let's play out with Fatima, I think, if we're like just training one day and I'm gonna pick the scab. Noah's too stupid not to. So you really have no plans after like we're done here? None?
No, I'll probably just get killed or something.
That's not a plan. That's a repercussion. That's something that happens to you. We're all probably gonna get killed, but we may not. And we've got like what, 6-7 years left? You gotta think of something.
That sort of negative energy is going to lead you down a dark path.
Right, Fatima, you're going down a dark path. Oh, me?
No, Fatima, but you too.
Oh, both of us. Well, I mean,
It's important to cultivate positivity with positivity. And I think, Fatima, a great source of negativity in your life is not knowing what you want to do with it.
yeah. What my plan was to take Salem's plan and just kind of like do it a year after, because like Faye was way ahead of the curve. But like it's working. I think these classes are mostly interesting, kind of. It's solid.
Yeah,
You can do it.
I don't want to be in the preservation forest forever.
I mean, all right, but what do you want to do?
I don't know.
Listen,
What do you like to do?
We kind of know the answer to that. Broken
Most of the
noses.
stuff I like to do, most people don't want me to do. So
Well, there's always a constructive way to do things, even if people think of them as having negative connotations.
Yeah, and at very least, you should come up with an elaborate lie before you get in there, because they're going to ask. And Friday is coming. Just think of something
to have this conversation.
Just think of something that sounds convincing. Like, you want to. What do people do on the outside? Drive a vehicle for people. I've seen them, the people who drive vehicles. But hey, architect. No, they'll make you do math. I should be better at lying than I am. My character is really good at this.
You should think of the things you enjoy doing and try and think of ways that it could be constructive.
I mean, I got a great idea. Yeah, Faye's right. Faye, you like yelling at people and bossing them around and telling them what to do, and then when they don't do it, you hit them. That's Trainer Raj. I know you don't want to be a part of the preservation force, but you can be the next hard ass who beats up like an endless supply of Susans and Claires and Georges and whatever. Just wail on them. I mean, and it's like I see the light glowing on your eyes. You imagine getting paid to do it, and they can't hit you back.
There is not nearly so much hitting as there is run 6 more laps, but I don't know. I suppose to some people that probably does feel the same way.
Physical crushing. Just come up with a lie before you get, or a story before you get in there, because if not, you're just going to get rescheduled to go back in a week, and then another week, and another week, and then Marta's going to basically have a fit.
Yeah.
Office managers get to boss people around all day.
All right. Yeah.
There are lots of jobs where you get to be in charge.
Yeah, but I'm not even sure that's what I want to do.
You're very good at it, though.
When you yell, I listen.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think you have something to bring to Dr. Bailey now when your session, when the time comes due and your smart link is chiming at you, telling you to go to the office at the end of the third corridor on building 2?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll lie to him.
So Dr. Bailey's office is a lot more like a traditional doctor's office, unlike the technician's labs and all that kind of thing. He's the psychologist. His attitude is a little new agey, actually. So there are some religious and iconographical knickknacks around the room. There are a couple of nice plush seats facing one another. His desk is often in one corner. There's a table with the with a box of tissues propped up on it right in the middle there. But when you arrive, Bailey stands up from his desk, brushes away the crumbs from the muffin he was eating, and gestures you over towards one of the big plush chairs and sits down opposite you, holding a pen and paper. He actually takes real paper notes before he copies into the computer, like, I don't know, some kind of fossil. He polishes his glasses for a minute or two, straightens his tie, sits up, and then gives you a good long stare.
Mm.
And after about 10 seconds of that, says, "So, Fatima, have you experienced increased aggression lately?"
Increased aggression?
Feelings of aggression that seem out of character for yourself?
Not out of character, I would say.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've read the reports from Instructor Raj about, or Trainer Raj about some semi-recent events. I just want to make sure we're finding the right ways to help you use this energy in a positive way that involves a lot less harm to the world at large.
Well, listen, Samantha has been on my ass for ages. She kind of deserved it.
Right. I think we need to not think about this as a Samantha problem and more a Fatima problem.
Yeah, that figures.
Right. So you kind of get where I'm going. Now, I'm not some sort of disciplinarian here. I'm not trying to get you to cop to some crimes and get, extra cleanup duties or whatever it is they do. I just want us to take a moment and just try to understand a little bit more about what's going on. Now, your feelings of aggression, can you sort of think of a time when they were less intense?
Maybe when I was a kid.
Right. So in your, environment back then, there wasn't as much need for that sort of behavior?
People didn't pick on me as much.
Okay. I think I can understand that to a certain degree. I mean, everyone faces some challenges like that, but that's good. That shows us where we can sort of find some common ground, where we can align. Now, I guess the important question, and at this point, the pen and paper come out, right in front of him, so he's ready to catch whatever is said. The important question is, have you noticed this behavior increasing while you've been piloting? Do you feel that piloting your saint is causing an acceleration in these feelings?
Is that something that can happen?
That's what I'm hoping you can help me answer.
Am I the only one feeling this way?
I don't I don't want to go around, talking about what my other, my other patients are experiencing and so on. But it is a question that's been asked just sort of in general. And that's why I'm hoping to see if I can find a solution or an answer, or even just some more data.
Well, I think it's possible. I just haven't been paying a lot of attention to it. But I'll see if I feel more aggressive.
Right. I guess one of the other things I kind of want to know is, would you feel that it would be wise if perhaps we were to reduce some of your duties and see if that helps to counteract the feelings of aggression?
Oh, I get it. So you just want to kick me out of the program like everybody else?
No. We're not trying to throw anyone out. We're just trying to find a good, healthy balance, of your piloting and your not piloting.
Yeah, well, that's not what I want.
Well, I think that's where we're trying to come to some more understanding here, then. Because when you have those kinds of negative feelings and you carry them out there with you, whether it's just day-to-day life or climbing aboard the Saint, that energy doesn't vanish. It's out there. It stays out there, and it could do some real damage.
Saying that I might not be able to control myself when I'm piloting the Saint?
I think that's a potential danger for every pilot. The things you're being asked to do are quite extreme. We don't know that it's good for people in the long term to be engaged in such a way. I mean, pilots have graduated and moved on and so on already, but still, a lot of this program is in its early stages, and we're sort of finding our way, which is why I want you to sort of be a partner for me in discovering those answers.
Well, sure. If I start feeling like the Saint is making me more aggressive, then I'll definitely let you know.
All right, good. That's all I really needed to know. Are there any other problems you want to discuss or bring up? Anything I can help you with, maybe?
Nah.
All right,
I don't think so.
Well, thanks. Then, just take care. We'll, of course, be in touch. We'll follow up with you again next time. But yeah, just keep feelers out for those emotions, and feel free to reach out to me if you want to talk some more about this, these experiences.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks. And with that, you are released from the office and allowed to go on about your day.
Yeah, definitely not going to talk to him about that stuff.
I like how that changed from, it started off with like, we're trying to help you, and then, but how does this affect you in your job? Specifically,
Right.
how does it? Yeah, and then you a danger to yourself and others. Understandable. You are piloting a giant monster.
You are connecting. Yeah, you are also connecting your brain to a space monster. So
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anybody have any other scenes or situations you want to get into? We've still got 4 beats before.
Could a beat have been resolved in that last scene? Maybe.
I mean, not necessarily. We didn't really go to the dice.
Yeah.
When we kind of need to put ourselves in a situation where there is like true risk of something. Like if Fatima was trying to convince the psychologist, or if I refused to believe Fatima and said like, no, we're gonna go full court press of like, free word association and stuff like that until the psychologist has broken something down. But it didn't seem like the right time for me to throw that at you. So
okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now you do have the option of just letting a beat pass for R&R. If you and the other pilots decide, hey, let's just have a scene of us relaxing, chilling out, doing fun stuff, then you can spend a beat, and in doing that, you all get to reduce 1 point of angst.
Ooh.
So that is something to bear in mind. Now, you've had scenes of you interacting, but it seems largely you've mostly just been winding each other up in those times. So those certainly wouldn't be
Right.
occasions. But if you do, like, let's all go and relax, or let's just hang out, or even if, like, you don't all go together, if they're like, hey, we're all going to go and each do our own separate, quiet, chill out thing, then that's how you can drain away some of your angst.
You know, this is where Alex would ask for a beach scene or a beach
Yes.
episode.
I think, a beach episode. I think it's too early for a beach episode, but
Yeah.
definitely like relaxation would not be amiss, I think.
Mhm.
Sure. Yeah. If you want to take some time to do that, there are the Arcs is, has basically a small mall on it. There are all those courts and exercise areas. There is a diner, actually, for people who are, sick to death of eating in the cafeterias. They have a cafe and diner. There's even a small movie theater that, runs films, on a relatively small screen, but they're running all day long. So they get a whole assortment of things out there. If you want to just, try and relax and be a little more normal, going down to visit the city isn't really allowed right now, considering all the construction and stuff that's going on. But maybe soon. I mean, actually, if you do want to schedule some time to go down to the city, you might be able to convince Marta to do that. But you kind of want to be on her good graces first before she's going to let you do that. And considering Fatima's standing situation with Marta, I don't think you're going to get that shore leave until that's sorted out.
I'm okay with unwinding. I kind of want to be in the arcade, which could be right next to any other place that anybody else wants to go to. I'm practicing on light gun games just to like get my draw down, because I still kind of want to train for the brain gun. But I'm feeling a little bit more confident just playing arcade games on my off time when I'm not, when I'm waiting for my turn on the machine. I'm reading up on Philly, seeing if there's anything interesting there that once we go to the launch, maybe something fun we could do. I'm really curious about that Liberty Bell.
Well, Rebel, Brennan, do you want your pilots to take a rest break as well and get rid of a point of angst?
Absolutely. Salem's going to go to the diner and do some tarot reading for herself.
I expect, Salem, you might be able to find other people similarly interested in tarot.
Oh, for sure.
Who could, you could maybe do a reading or two for other folks, and who knows, maybe even make some friends that way if you get the right cards in front of the right people. I don't know. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
I think after after you've done a few readings, I think Captain Blanche actually sits down across the table from you and asks for a reading. She's one of the transport flight pilots, so she's always kind of in the flight suit, and these days she's kind of always in her flight suit with like her flight plan pad clipped to her arm, because with all the stuff going back and forth with the transports, her breaks are long enough to come to the diner and eat a burger and then get back on board. But she's really interested in tarot readings. So I don't know, what kind of reading do you give her? I'll let you decide if it's good or bad or whatever.
I think it's mainly positive, but it like the specific spread that they're using predicts some things that the captain needs to like watch out for.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Blanche appreciates the warning and says, like, sure, I'll let you know how it all turns out, and bids you adieu in order to run back to the launch base. All right, Fatima, what do you do to chill out?
So do we have like dorm rooms where we're sharing it with people?
Basically, yeah. The companies, the cadets, there's a dorm building where the cadets and pilots and so on all live. The companies usually have rooms close to each other. Sometimes they'll have combined living space, but you'll have separate bedrooms within kind of a combined living room
Common area,
slash
right.
kitchen area. Yeah, common area attached to those individualized rooms. So yeah, I think it's probably, I think it's likely you have sort of a shared space with the other two members of your company, and then there are 2 vacant rooms for other people to be added to your company if it expands.
Right. So I'm going to be in my room with the door closed, sort of writing poetry in a little book and muttering to myself.
Oh, well, we see
I love Fatima.
we see another little side to Fatima comes sneaking through. Good. I like that.
Yeah, it's poetry in my native language.
Mhm.
So not whatever. I don't know what the Protection Force uses as its official language, but
They are actually multilingual because they're
an international force.
they're an international force. One of the fun things about your SmartLink is that if you put the earpiece in your ear, you get kind of a Google Translate of things that other people are saying to you.
Oh,
So
nice.
while some people will gravitate toward one language, I mean, right now you're flying over America, so a lot of
Right.
people have learned enough English, or are learning enough English to get by without their translator. But basically everybody has them in there so that you can, you can speak comfortably and know that other people will be hearing you. It comes through a Google Translate type thing, so there might be a little bit of a lag, but but it does let you act as kind of the universal translator. I mean, you can also just hold up your link and read the text as it writes it out for you. So
Yeah, cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, so she would be mortified if anybody caught her doing this, but she's
Gotcha.
This is what she does to relax.
All right, cool. I like that little bit of insight. All right. So we've still got 3 beats left on the clock, but it looks like we've almost run out our hour. So we've kind of devoted ourselves to feeling our characters out some more, which I guess is good.
Damn, we were role playing instead of role playing.
I know.
What
What happened? What have I done? Oh no. Well, what's happened is I haven't been steering you through the whole thing. Okay, now here's how you learn the rules. I mean, which always happens with episode 1. I must say, every time I've played this, episode 1 is always like, and now I shall grab the reins so I can make you learn the rules. Now it's, hey, find out who you are.
Yeah.
Well, Salem will be confronting fair friends next session.
Oh, nice.
All right then. All right.
Unresolved emotional issues. So we will have some content.
Good.
Salem is the friend who's on a career path.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, oh, I don't know. Figure it out.
Fatima trusts Salem more than she trusts the psychologist, though. So
yeah.
Fair enough. Yep.
All right. We'll see where that goes then. All right.
Yay. All right, that wraps it up for this week. A very fun game. Thank you. Where can we find out more about Tears of the Machine SC?
There's always robotclaw.info. That's my blog. You can also follow me on Twitter at robotclaw. The game is still up on Kickstarter for the rest of this week. We're going to keep playing anyway, even after the Kickstarter campaign is over, because I like this game and you guys seem to be having fun, so we'll keep going. But yeah, and you can find it on Kickstarter searching for Tears of a Machine SC. Be sure to add the SC because the old edition still shows up on Kickstarter with the other name of just Tears of a Machine.
Fair enough. You can find Dungeon Not Included on the Non-Productive Network, at DNI Crew on Twitter, and probably on Facebook, but who knows? Or you could find it wherever you're seeing this now. Just go back a little. Just go back. It's all you got to do. It's available. All right. Good night, everybody.
Take care.